Okay. So, Miss Looney is not with us today. We will record this for posterity so that she can check it out if she feels so inclined. Oh, we lost Chandler.
Yeah.
He disappeared.
Lame.
Uh, when last we saw the Trollskull 6, you had been suddenly called to Holbrack to defend against an unforeseen assault by the ice-brewed armies of Jormag. You arrived to uh, a scene of chaos as people fled through the Asura Gate to Lion's Arch, both to take shelter there and to flee to other cities. Um, you were there for the final moments of preparation before the Icebeard army arrived. You did pitched battle at the Eastern Gate for over an hour. You defeated their Frenier, sort of souped up shaman champion, and then Jormag showed up. He issued you an invitation, if not a challenge, and you followed him to the frozen lake above the town, where you refused his invitation and engaged in another intense combat where two of you fell. Fortunately, you were able to defeat Jormag, and you had the materials on you to allow Hertha, Brina's sister, who is a high priest of Bear, in Holbrack to do the hour-long resurrection rituals for those two players, which were successful because they're not guaranteed in this home game. And then you spent a long night partying, celebrating. The Scalds of the Norn people are composing songs of the Trollskull 6, even as you recover the day after. Ultimately, as the sun began to lighten the horizon the next morning, Galatar made his way back to Lion's Arch, got a little bit of rest after finding the Temple of Cormier was not open for searching through the stacks at such a late or early hour, depending on how you look at it. But nevertheless, the rest of you got a long rest, well earned, had a hearty breakfast, and then made your way back to Lion's Arch. Whereupon, Galtar, I believe, made his way to the temple, now open, of Cormier, and received a stack of research that he had asked them to collate prior about something. I think it was about Flame Legion?
Yeah, they gave me books on Flame Legion, and then I asked them to find books on whatchamacallit.
Primordius?
Yes.
Right. So they are, over time, going to be searching through their stacks and reaching out to their contacts to try to find anything that might be of use there. Although, did they tell you to look somewhere?
I don't believe so.
I think so. I'll have to go back and check the recording.
Okay.
So, the day after the defeat of Jormag, you find that the air in Lion's Arch, while comforting, is a little tense. People are worried. You know, if Jormag could take his army and suddenly sneak up on Holbrack through a wintry fog, Primordius, drove the Asura from the depths of Tyria. The entire dwarven race transformed into creatures of stone just to fight Primordius's destroyer minions down there, and they haven't been seen in hundreds of years. Where could he potentially crop up? And Kralkatorek, has been, everyone assumes, asleep in the Crystal Desert since the fight with Destiny's Edge. No one's made their way down there and returned to tell the tale, so everyone is a little anxious, and reasonably so. You find that several large buildings, mostly temples, but some of the other establishments around town have taken in some of the refugees. But runners were sent in the night. That cleanup efforts were underway after a pitched battle, and most of the Norn were able to return home. Thankful for the charity and the comfort provided by the Lion Guard and the members of the clergy here in town. Believing they would be staying for much longer, it is a pleasant surprise for all of them to be making their way home. And throughout the day, little gifts appear on the stoop outside your door or at the bar. People come by and drop little packages, cooked goods, little craft things like little dolls of you all, clothed and armed with little carven figures for weapons and staves and little knit packs.
Does anyone know what we're supposed to do with these? It feels a little weird to have a doll of myself.
Yeah, and this one doesn't even
put
look
it in the
like me.
bar. Just where we put all the other stuff.
I guess. It just feels a
You
little.
could just get some dress-up clothes for it, then find
You
new
just-
outfits.
Put it next to the Logan doll.
I'll put it next to the. I like Carla's idea. I don't know why I would play dress up with a doll of myself and not just get myself new clothes, but
What's to try them on and see how they might feel?
Yeah.
I mean, I like
that's what
these
you do
dolls'
at clothing
proportions a lot
shops,
more
isn't
than
it?
me.
What?
We also have the Garen doll. You could put it
Yeah.
next to that.
That is a real right brain way of thinking, Alexa, where you'd like to try out the clothes on a model of yourself before you wear them so you might know how they feel.
It's in case, there's ever a time when you have to stay home for extended periods of time.
What?
Like in case of an outbreak of some, sickness.
Wow. That's really something.
Trollskull Tavern rapidly begins to look almost like a memorial, where people are just like starting to leave things at the bar or outside the door, and it's an insane variety of things. Like sometimes it's like a good fishing rod, or a whetstone with some runes that just say like best of luck, or something generic. Like it's like whatever little meaningful thing people had on them at the time, because they didn't bring all of their household stuff with them. There are like little piles of tanned hides that have not yet been worked into.
Birdie's not allowed to have any of these items so he can scry on people.
Yeah, there are little pouches with coppers and silvers in them, a couple with some gold pieces. I would say all told throughout the day, you probably clear about 250 gold worth of coin. Yeah,
Put it in
there
the
are
party fund.
bouquets
Yeah.
of flowers, quite a few of those. Some trays of baked goods are set on the bar and left in Tim's care. Eventually, it all kind of slows down. There are a never-ending stream of people, not only Norn, but people of Lion's Arch. Whether Lion Guard, civilian, even merchants and traders that come in from Divinity's Reach, Ratasum, even some folk from Ebonhawk make it becomes a pilgrimage over the next several days, where people come to the bar just to say thank you, as word of your latest achievement spreads. Someone, about 2 days after this, despite whatever you guys do in the meantime, someone delivers like a 2-foot cubed ice statue that really looks nothing like Jormag, because no one saw him but you. But it's this stylized kind of serpentine figure around what looks like a kind of a totem pole with spirits of the wild, and it's just carved of ice, and it very quickly starts to melt. But the thought is sweet. It is not enchanted in any way. You begin to notice in the evenings not only at the Trollskull Tavern, but should you find yourselves walking along a promenade near the sea, or on any alleyway by an open tavern door, the bards are singing songs of the Battle of Holbreck, the Battle of the Maguma Jungle, the Lost City of Tarir, and most of them are wildly inaccurate and 100% speculative, because, again, the pact has not returned. There are some couriers and some messages being sent back and forth, but the information is extremely limited. And what you're finding is utterly fanciful stories of heroics in which you did not participate, but which the people of Lion's Arch are taking as gospel. And with each telling, they get more and more absurd. But regular reports come in day after day about the progress of the pact as they slowly crawl their way across Kryta, stopping periodically at towns to receive thanks from the local townsfolk as they come out in droves to help replenish food and supplies, whatever people can spare to kind of help folks get back to Lion's Arch safely. And you guys have some time on your hands. As the days pass by, what is it you guys are doing to occupy yourselves after this latest feat of heroics?
I guess how long are we saying this downtime is? Roughly, like.
The estimates that you get for just some sort of marker, because at this point it's really up to you. But the estimates you hear, because occasionally you guys have access to the Crow's Nest, to the Lion Guard, and every now and then Mortimer gets kind of sent around to update you guys, give you like a little debriefing, just like a 5-minute, like, here's today's news. You gather that in total, from the day you teleported back, it takes about 25 days for the pact to get home, which is really good pace for such a large force.
Okay, I just wanted to know if I needed to specify for like a week or a day. But like Kitri's gonna probably spend those first 4 or 5 days back when she's still not doing so hot. Probably recuperating at home, probably going to like the Temple of Lissa and like getting some nice spa time.
Absolutely.
Probably spend some good quality time with Biscuit.
Yeah. There are plenty of wide open spaces just outside the city to the north. Open plains. The Gandaran fields between Lion's Arch and Applenook that you know very well. Lots of places to run free. Kitri and Alexa having been revived from what lies beyond this life. They have I think 4 points of, not exhaustion, but like a -4 modifier to everything, and that reduces 1. So that after about 4 or 5 days, you gradually start to feel better, and by that 5th day, you are back on your feet. Yeah, definitely a time for rest. What is, aside from playing with Biscuit and going to the spa, like, is there anything else you can think of that Kitri would do to just relax around town?
Definitely go visit Tolly, and like probably like, I know that she's like proficient in woodworking now, but like do some like crafting, just like spend some time making some sort of like woodworking. Maybe she'll carve, I don't know, maybe she'll try to carve like a wooden version of that ice statue they got because it melted.
Yeah. It's extremely challenging, but you're welcome to try. Yeah.
And I guess for my level up, I took the resilient constitution feat, which
Good for a druid.
feels somewhat apropos coming back from being dead. But
Learn
I
to be
wasn't
dead, stronger for it.
I wasn't exactly sure, yeah, like how I wanted to flavor sort of gaining that. So I'm open to suggestions.
So
Um,
as far as like improving constitution, it's less about like athletics, like building muscle and like strength training, but more I would think like running, endurance training, like the length of time you can carry on, cardio, probably lots of cardio. Probably also eating a wider variety of foods and like going to stranger environments, like maybe taking trips to the nearby like Blackroot Bog or something like exposing yourself to things that otherwise might be less
Isn't
pleasant.
that the bog we started in?
It is.
where we found the cannibals? Yes.
Yeah.
I still have Eyebright tonic from that excursion that I have held on to and have not had to use yet. So
Is that expiration date?
it's
Magical.
fantasy world, man.
Magical
But yeah, Kichu
milk.
would probably go like do those sorts of things where she'd probably maybe start with like taking walks in the mornings, but eventually that would turn into like her going running every day. And like how you were saying, going out towards like the sort of more open places outside of Lion's Arch than going to maybe like the bog and different places like that, and just sort of going for excursions.
Yeah. That's good. Make this would be the application of woodworking skill. It'd be
Dexterity of some kind?
intelligence, dexterity. I guess dexterity to make yourself to make your hands do what your mind is thinking. So yeah, make a dexterity check, but add your proficiency bonus because you are proficient with your tool.
Okay, so that's a 14 with the like dexterity modifier, and then that's +6, so it would be a total of 20 for the check.
Okay. So the ice sculpture didn't last very long, and it was very complicated. But you do a passable job of bringing it to life. It's not as finely detailed. Most of what you're training in is in larger things, but you do have an eye for it. And yeah, it turns out pretty well. It actually kind of like probably make a nice centerpiece for your table or something.
She'll
you
put
can
it in the bar. She'll try to like, she'll just like slide it somewhere and like, yeah. Maybe she'll have like a little corner where she's gonna start putting her little like woodworking crafts.
Yeah. Easy enough to get like a little like multi-leveled sort of display tree type thing to sit on a table, and you can put things on it, different levels. Yeah.
At a certain point, it'll probably turn into like she's carving planters for plants, and then adding it to that and turning it into like this weirdly like green corner in the bar.
Absolutely. Cool. Kala, what are you doing now that you're back home?
Go to the Cenobium, get cleaned up, and then go see Kolinar.
Yeah. I would say when you show up, he looks at once surprised and relieved. He kind of rushes forward out of his door and like throws his arms around your thick neck, just gives you a tight squeeze.
Paula
Says,
just like freezes for a minute and doesn't move, like shocked by being hugged, and then relaxes.
Kind of pulls back and takes you by the the scruff of your
Mm.
armor, sort of shakes you a little bit, just like, I was worried. I came out of the lab and I heard alarm bells ringing. They told me you'd gone to Holdbrack. I know you can handle yourself, but then word came there was a dragon, and no pack to back you up.
Yeah, it was a crazy fight. Jormag just kind of came out of nowhere. Very unexpected.
That's what the couriers were saying. Inspector Keel was kind enough to brief me. I started hearing rumors that some of you had fallen, but I'm told that wasn't ultimately a problem.
Well, Alexa and Keetri did die. We were
Really?
able to bring them back, yeah.
Huh. Well, come in, come in. Tell me all about it. I just leads you inside, gets the deeds.
Yeah, I'll tell him all about it.
So you have an idea of what you do over like, several days? Just like go see him every day?
Yeah, go see a show if one is playing. Maybe go to the Crow's Nest and get dinner.
Yeah, yeah. Dinner on the lower floor of the Crow's Nest is still a big thing. Some of the best bards in town are there, and it's a little weird, cause like you're sitting there and they're singing songs about you, and like some of them are actually pretty good and fairly accurate for things like the Siege of Orr, the Battle of Claw Island. Um, but then you get into tales about the Golden City of Tarir, and they start talking about how it has sapphires embedded in the walls and people made of diamonds, and it's just like total fucking nonsense. It's a little silly, but everyone else seems really impressed, and Kolinar's just sort of leaning in, going, "So really how it is?" And when you tell him, it's like, "Oh."
Yeah, I tell him all the stuff that they got wrong.
You do manage to find an interesting show at the Brightwater Theater. It is not as popular around town as other shows have been. It's kind of it's an interesting play, but it's a tragedy. Yeah, it's the tragedy of risen Prince Elasal, and it kind of originates. It has some people dressed in very sort of antique-looking Orient outfits that give sort of it's almost like a Greek play. There's like a chorus on stage that gives a little narration and backstory, and then there's a scene with the actors, and they talk about the rise of Prince Elasau in Or in times of old, about the destruction of Or, the cataclysm that sank it, and his death. And then there's a scene about Zaitan raising powerful minions and him becoming a lich under the service of the dragon, even though he didn't want to be. Like it wasn't like a willing thing that his soul did. It's just like his body was animated, and like whatever little spiritual consciousness resided in that space, or in the magic that did it, kind of forced him to do what he did. But it goes through the siege of Claw Island, where they took it from the Lion Guard, and then ultimately the final act is the cataclysmic battle with the Trollskull 6 at the top of a high tower, even as a blighted dragon, falls down out of the clouds. It's like the closing curtain is this massive sort of paper mache dragon in the background, and the chorus comes back out and like narrates that the Trollskull 6 descended and ultimately freed Claw Island with the Pact forces. Victory was assured, but poor Prince Elasal, It's interesting though. You've never quite seen a play like this, and the Flame Legion, didn't really do things like this. You've been to the Playhouse before, but this was not funny, and it wasn't like a gory action thing like the Bloody Wedding was, but interesting. And Kolinar seems to really enjoy it. He kind of gets philosophical about it, starts talking to you about Or and human heritage and like what the play means to people. Kind of gives you a little better handle on why it is the way it is. Tells you it's more of like an artsy piece, so it's not bringing in quite the business it would have. But the theater's about half full. It's not bad.
Yeah, I think that's it for downtime for me. Just hanging out with him and
What's Galatar doing?
Yeah, I think Galatar, after getting the books and records that he could on the Flame Legion, probably heads to Divinity's Reach. Spend some time, would send a message to Burkhard Burkhard and Roland ahead of time to just check on him and see if it's okay if he stays with him for a couple days. But then would go back there, kind of use his daytime while they're working and managing the cafe and stuff to sit kind of in the corner and study while he drinks some of their coffee and relaxes, and then would train with Roland maybe in the evenings a little bit to kind of finally master some of his dexterity and really hit the pinnacle of his ability in that fashion. And then would spend maybe his nights going on dates with Elise and just kind of having a little bit more of a relaxed kind of enjoy the moment atmosphere after everything that happened with a couple of his friends being killed.
Yeah, and dexterity is certainly a crucial component of training with the prism blades that they use, because you can't really get nicked by those. They're they're pretty dangerous.
Yeah, really hurt.
Yeah. Do you take, so when you go to Divinity's Reach, do you take the Bloodstone crystal with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it is in the sword at the moment.
I thought it
Because
was
it has to.
Oh.
Yeah, it's on Omen because it's attached to like the handle or hilt or whatever.
Okay.
I believe
Yeah.
that's the item description says it like attaches to the bottom of the hilt.
Yeah. When you said in, I thought you meant in a prism blade or something.
Oh no. Yeah. On attached to Omen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you're a teenager and your parent catches you doing something that like they would probably do, but they don't want you to do, and so they don't feel like they could tell you like, you shouldn't be doing that because it'd kind of be hypocritical. But he points out again that the bloodstones are corruptive in nature, and asks how you're coping with it, having to sort of feed your life force into it for that trade-off of power. And you can see like he's concerned for your well-being.
Yeah, I mean, it pains me a lot. It's not easy, I guess. It often hurts. It takes me longer to recover than it used to, but it's also saved my life in battle a few times, just having that extra little bit of potency, especially in the most recent fight where Kitri and Alexa died. So, yeah, I mean, I guess a little pain is a worthwhile trade-off for survival and being able to help protect my friends, at least for now. I think I'll probably destroy it or get rid of it once we finish off the dragons.
He puts his hand on your shoulder and just says, I think that would be a good idea. These things, the longer you use them, the greater the damage they might do within. Just be careful.
I will be. It's definitely a game of risk and reward. But, hopefully we finish the other dragons off pretty soon. I mean, in the last week, we've killed 2. So, pretty quick.
Yeah, he and Burkhard are very impressed. And of course, spending any significant amount of time in Divinity's Reach, Countess Anise will stop by and kind of get a in-person debriefing on what exactly happened. And as like it's always an odd experience getting questioned by her, because she asks questions that seem like not the question you would have asked. But it's almost like she's not asking that question, but she's still getting the answer that she wants. It's a weird dance of intrigue, so that you're never really sure what information you're actually giving her. But at the end, she does seem satisfied.
And I think you would probably make special mention to Countess Anise about the fact that dragons seem to be some sort of magical conduit without mentioning any of the stuff they found in Tarrir with regard to there being Glint's legacy. So just sort of as like a, things to be aware of that could potentially be an issue based on the research that we've seen, but not that there is like Glint's legacy potentially to fix that issue.
Yeah. Make a deception check for me.
Sure. That's gonna be great because I've got -1. Yeah, okay. That would be an 18.
Okay. Yeah, it's a long sit down. Like she just has like coffee sitting in the house, and Roland is always nearby, being very respectful. Burkhart kind of makes himself scarce for a little while after like preparing the coffee and serving it. He's very respectful around her, but then he sort of like buggers off for a little while. And it takes like 2 hours, and she sits there and just kind of like grills you for details. But she seems satisfied, and eventually she takes her leave, and you're able to train. So that's a +2 dexterity up.
Yep, so that maxes out my dex at 20.
Tight.
Super nice. And then the only other thing that I need to do is to get a component for a new spell, which I think I should be able to do in Divinity's Reach. I just need to get an object, so I guess I'll try and find like a ring or something that would be worth about 500 gold, so something pretty ornate, I suppose. And I need to have the image of a dragon carved on it. So I can, if people have a general idea of what one of the dragons looks like, great. If not, I can, like, having just seen Jormag would help them be like, this dragon would be fine.
So, is there a dragon who you would prefer to use as your sigil for this? And keep in mind, as you're describing like where its head is, what it looks like, you don't have to tell someone that it looks like a specific dragon.
Yeah, I guess, do I know, well, I guess I would go with Glint's legacy. I would go with sort of their form, and their sort of general thing, because I think that would be something Galatar would find as like a nice reminder of kind of the hope of what may be able to protect them moving forward.
Yeah. So the engraver that you find is actually a fairly well-educated young woman, or older woman rather, like early mid-50s, a master craftswoman. And as you're describing this, like, they sketch it out first pretty roughly, and then they refine it into what would be a more efficient way to do an engraving. And as you're describing the sort of crystalline shards of instead of like where scales would be, she says something to the effect of like, that sounds very much like the descriptions of Krakatorek from the fight with Destiny's Edge. That battle is legendary, and this could potentially be a likeness. I don't know. I've never seen any art, but she sort of mentions that it has a Krakatorek-esque vibe to it.
Yeah, I think Galatar probably smiles a little bit at that.
And you get a nice, easy enough to do. It's worth what, like 500 gold or something?
So yeah, since that's be worth 500 gold, could it be like the ring itself is gold, and then like where the crystalline scales are like actual pieces of little diamond or things that have been embedded into the gold band, like with etching and stuff?
So you could do an embedding of either mother of pearl or opal. So either way, you get a little bit of that rainbow iridescence.
Yeah, definitely go with one of those two.
Cool, definitely. And I would say it's a ring. It's one of those. I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but Jack Sparrow has like a big turquoise ring. It's like a huge oval, so something almost gaudy, but big enough that you could actually do like a fairly intricate engraving on it.
Yeah, I think he definitely think that was fun, and would put it on his right hand.
Absolutely.
Cool.
If you have Foundry up, what is this? I anticipated this. I read your mind, and
Brilliant.
your, let me put it in the black, your dragon,
Oh,
sort of
that's so
crystalline,
cool.
and I can change it from a side angle to a top down. So it's the sort of crystalline shape of Aurene,
Yeah.
because I kind of figured that might be where you went.
Yeah, can I see the side angle again?
So you should have control to be able to move that,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
And if you right click it,
Uh-huh.
you should see on the right side at the bottom, I think you'll see a little circular arrow,
Oh, yeah.
and that's where you can change it.
Oh, this is so neat. Okay, this is really cool, Ryan. Thank you.
You're welcome. That is actually a crystal statue that they ArenaNet sells of Aurene.
Oh, that's neat. This looks so cool. I'm super excited about using this. Oh,
Is there anything else you'd like to do with your relaxation and downtime?
no, I think that's about it. I was also gonna check to see if it would be okay if I took the spell skill empowerment. Because it was a little different than what we had talked about before, but I figured since that's a lower level spell and not really usable in combat, it would probably be a
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's the other spell I take then, and other than that, I'm good.
All right. Eventually, after enough time goes by, I think you guys teleported back, and then you had about a week in Holbrack, and so it's gonna be like 2 weeks and a couple of days before the Pact gets back. Eventually, you swing by the temple, and the acolytes there have very little information about Prime Mortis. What you do manage to get your hands on is just a small stack of documents, and it's mostly copied excerpts from other texts. So, one is the journal of a hero who traveled the far northern Shiver Peaks, far north of Holbrack, who originally made contact with the Norn. He was one of the first humans to ever meet a Norn. Previously, the Norn did not live in the Shiver Peaks where they do now, and so very few people had ever heard of them. This hero befriended several of them and fought beside some of their heroes and some other folks to defeat a creature that the dwarves and the Asura called the Great Destroyer. It was a figure out of dwarven legend. It's why it has such a weird, like, mythical sounding name. But it was a champion of Primordius. People didn't know that at the time. The dwarven prophecies that centered around this entity thought that it was the big bad guy. Just before that final confrontation is when King Jalus Ironhammer acquired a big magical book called the Tome of the Rubicon that contained an ancient rite that turned the dwarves into stone, that allowed them to single-mindedly kind of function eternally as a force to struggle against these destroyers that were popping up all through the depths of Tyria and driving the dwarves out of their subterranean kingdoms. They destroyed the Asuran civilization, their central transfer chamber, which used to house hundreds of Asura gates to all over the world in the depths of Tyria. Ultimately, the champion was destroyed, and there are a couple of sheafs of paper where different sages from Divinity's Reach, some of the more prominent arcanists from Rata Sum, and even one signed by Ogden Stonehealer, who I believe you know the name of. Is the contact that Grandfather Zatembe has in the Priory in the special collections.
Oh, yes. Okay.
They speculate
Gotcha.
that the defeat of this great destroyer allowed Primordus to remain asleep longer. It sort of like put a damper on his awakening.
Okay.
So you get descriptions about all of that history and the Great Destroyer and
Mhm.
the sort of first encounters with destroyers as they kind of boil up out of the ground.
Hmm.
I would say that's probably the first useful, practical bit of information you get is they can burrow beneath the earth. They are made of living molten rock. They are animated. They are not corrupted living creatures.
Oh,
So they're not like the
interesting.
risen.
Uh-huh.
They're not like the branded. The Mordrum, you could argue, are similar,
Hmm.
but where Mordremoth is or was a very very intelligent and
Hmm.
very focused, tactical, driven, and dominating force
Hmm.
intellectually. Uh, you recall from the tablets in Tarir and from these scattered notes that you get from several different sources that Primordus is the incarnation of destructive rage,
Mm.
and his minions reflect that. They have never been seen or known to communicate. They simply bubble up from the ground and lay waste to everything. They reduce everything to ash, and then they vanish, presumably returning to the depths.
Is there anything in these notes? I can't remember if it's noted at all about whether or not there are any dwarves left, or because I know people know they made that decision to kind of sacrifice the future of their race in order to fight Primordus. But has there been anybody seen them or heard of them since?
There are some pieces of paper in here that are brief excerpts from longer, like memoirs of Asura that talk about the Exodus when they had to leave the Underdark, or the depths of Tyria. And there are some newer notes from exploratory expeditions that describe encountering destroyers in the depths as some Asura have tried to like feel their way back down and try to find some lost groups
Mm-hmm.
of Asuran people who tried to go out and found other cities besides Radasum. Not everyone came to Radasum. Because
Oh, okay.
the way the civilization was destroyed, it was all at once. There was not a lot of time to organize an evacuation.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Asura gates at the central transfer chamber destroyed, it was just sort of like a scattering. They call it the Asuran diaspora, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But you find some descriptions of more modern Asura encountering destroyers. One of them describes being saved by a small cohort of about 8 stone dwarves, just like solid, living, animated stone. They describe them as being cold, emotionless, singularly focused on fighting the destroyers. And once that work was done, they left to go find more to fight. They weren't overly concerned with helping people or doing anything other than hunting down the destroyers and destroying them.
Oh, okay. Huh.
But that
Interesting.
was deep beneath the earth. And you know from your own human history, I didn't even make you roll for it with your crazy history score,
Sure.
that no one has seen a dwarf on the surface world in 200 years.
Okay. And then I did have one last question, if that's okay. The fire spirits that the Flame Legion previously was known to contact, are those believed by any scholars or in any way to be related to Primordus and sort of his magic? Or are those just believed to be like they contacted other entities from another realm that were completely separate?
No, so actually in your documentation about the Flame Legion, it is revealed that from a very notable historical document, the Flameseeker Prophecies, and sort of commentary after the fact, that those entities called the Titans were these great, huge titanic elementals of stone and flame, but they were not native to Tyria.
Okay.
They were sent there from the realm of torment, where the fallen human god Abaddon lay chained and imprisoned for a time. The Char Shaman had somehow contacted him. They had used extraplanar rituals to reach out into points unknown to try to find some sort of divine power to fight against the humans who were using their god's magic to drive the Char out of Ascalon. And it was Abaddon who sort of answered the call, explained the rituals behind causing the searing that destroyed Ascalon, and how to summon and contact the Titans. So it was more like fiendish than primordial.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Oh. What does Alexa do?
Quite a few things. Oh man, I don't know. I guess probably the first thing though, when we get back and just relax for the day, is I will go home and just talk to my parents and check in and give them the quick update. I will be honest with them and tell them that I did die, but I'll probably be a little too enthusiastic about it, because as I'm talking about, I got to see everything. I got to see the great alchemy. I saw when the dragons erupted from the ground. I saw when everything began, but I couldn't really do anything with it. It was really weird.
I would say that your father would be beside himself. I mean, they don't burst into tears or anything because you're fine. You're standing right in front of him. But he has to sit down. Like, he gets a little weak-kneed, and he's kind of like patting his chest and taking some deep breaths. And your mother, though, is much more level-headed and much more focused on your experience with the Eternal Alchemy and what you've seen. As Asura are wont to do, it's more of an academic discussion. She immediately grabs pen and paper and starts taking notes, and you can see her drawing like little diagrams to correlate things together, and starts making little notes in the margins about other people who have described the Eternal Alchemy this way, from theorists to people who've experimented with extraplanar magic, some really far out there Asura who were less arco-mechanically inclined and more free-spirited, who experimented with mind-altering substances. It's kind of described a similar effect.
I don't know anything about
She's-
that.
She specifically, you see there's a big name she circles, OMAD, O-M-A-D-D, and she starts scribbling a little bit of notes. She tells you that there was an Asura who tried once to build a machine that you could sit in, and the machine would stay put, but it would like propel your consciousness outward in such a way that you could try to view a representation of the alchemy, and his experience sounds very much like what you saw. Yeah, she takes a lot of notes, and she says that this is fascinating, that you need to be much more careful, and then she's like patting your father's head and like rubbing his head, patting his hands.
All my friends were there. They were able to take care of me. It was a very sudden, shocking dragon.
Yeah, she accepts it with a sort of clinical detachment, but is very proud. And eventually, like once your father kind of gets over the shock of it, there are a couple of questions, but it's more along the practical lines of what are the plans now? And like what's your group gonna do when you finally put an end to this threat?
Well, actually, I'm gonna when I get back, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna stay the night at least, and maybe the day, and just kind of relax. But when I get back, I gotta talk to my wizard friend, and I think I'm gonna try maybe actually writing some spells down for a change instead of trying to keep them all up in my head.
He just sort of looks at you with that kind of rustic logic. Oh yeah, that seems like an excellent idea. I mean, probably should have thought of that one before, I suppose. You know, he's happy to provide you with some pen and paper. They set you up in like a little Asuran tent that they have. It kind of collapses down into a little cube about 2 feet high by 1 feet thick and wide. You can hit a button and it splays out. It kind of hovers a little bit above the ground. They just kind of set it up in the living room.
Camping in the living room.
They don't have a guest room, but yeah, plenty of collapsible tech in a certain space.
Well, then, yes, I'll crash in my parents' living room for a night just to stay there for their reassurance kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And then the next day after breakfast, I will return to Lion's Arch and actually hit up Kolinar.
Okay.
Of course, once I'm back in Lion's Arch, I'll send him a message and just ask him, Kolinar, do you have a moment? Are you free for the afternoon, morning?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because when you knock on the door, Kala answers.
That's I guess this isn't wholly unexpected.
But Kolinar's just like sitting at the opposite end of the dining room table, like right in front of the door. He just waves you in. He's like, of course. I've always got time for one of the Trollskull 6. What can I do for you?
Well, after all of my past training with trying to learn about new magics and different magic, I decided I should probably start writing this down because I cannot memorize this all.
A very wise precaution. I've always been more skeptical of the nature of sorcery than the tried and true reliability of the wizardly arts. Good for you. I'm glad you've come around.
So yes, I guess, skipping past the dialogue back and forth, I will ask Kolinar if he can teach me detect magic, unseen servant, and identify.
Absolutely. He's happy to do so, and I mean, he's got a spell book laying around, so he's happy to let you copy it out of that.
So that'll be the day. That takes about 6 hours and 50 gold, because 2 of those spells are the ones that I get for free from the feat itself.
Cool.
And then, so I guess that's the second day. So third, we'll just say
You've got time.
Well, no, I was thinking third day. Galatar, you're still gone, aren't you? Third day.
Yeah, Galatar would probably be gone for at least the week.
Yeah. Okay. So no, that's fine. That totally factors in. I will go then next to the Temple of Grenth and pick up Gentle Repose from the senior osteolog Kenrick Malice if he is available.
Yeah, he is around.
Or any of the other people if they're willing to teach me it.
Yeah. So you find your way to the Temple of Grenth, which is always kind of a dark, gray, very quiet place. There are not a lot of colorful trappings, although there are some tapestries of a deep green that bear a sort of horse skull with a hood that is the symbol of the Lord of Judgment.
I look great then with my like purple and pink going on.
You stick out like a sore thumb. The senior osteolog is always in. When you tell him that you're interested in writing down a ritual to help the Trollskull 6, he gives you one of those sighs.
Oh, that's right. I remember this gentleman now.
I suppose if it's going to help the greater good, it wouldn't be an imposition. I shall have one of the priests set aside some time. You can share one of their spell books for a moment. Do not take it out of the grounds. These are holy rituals, after all, but accommodations will be made.
I greatly appreciate it. And if you have one more quick moment, are you familiar with another higher level spell, clone by chance?
I'm sorry. I don't know anything about making duplicates of oneself.
Do I believe him?
Make an insight check.
Oh, fucking 9. What is that bullshit?
This is a man utterly without guile. Yeah, you see, he's genuinely confused. With your passive ability in Arcana, I would say that you recognize that Clone is not a cleric spell.
Oh, I was thinking just because it was they're dead and it's necromancy. But
Yeah. More of an arcane thing. And he kind of with a little bit of attitude, like perhaps you should check with some of the more arcane practitioners, those who are interested in prolonging their short little candle lives.
yep, my bad. Totally missed the mark a little on that one.
We here in the temple to the Lord of Judgment do not fear the end, for we know it is but a doorway. And he just like starts to preach a little bit.
Guess I won't mention that I've been dead.
Probably for the best.
No, then yeah, I will allow him to sermon a little and then go off for 4 hours.
Rock on. Yeah,
Um,
there's just a human priest. Yeah, you've kind of seen him around town once or twice maybe, but happy to let you kind of sit and walk you through the particulars and explain his. I would say this takes half the amount of time because the guy who wrote the spell in his spell book is there to explain the notation to you.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, then that's even better because I will thank him very heartily and then quickly head over to the priory so I can pick up Tiny Hut.
Okay. Yep. There is a priory outpost. It's more like a tent, really. It's like a very nice kind of pavilion on the edge of town. But there are plenty of agents wandering between there and the Crow's Nest as they deliver reports and stuff, and almost always some sort of priory member coming and going from the sort of gate hub. But at their outpost, simple enough. All of the priory members with a rank of explorer, whose mission it is to go forth and find and delve into ruins in search of arcane knowledge and magic items and things. They all have Tiny Hut prepared. Sort of their bread and butter. And you are a member of the Trollskull sect, so you don't even need to roll for it. Like they are happy to share that knowledge with you.
Right, I did figure I was not trying to hide who I was, but if they, I was introducing myself, yes, as Alexa of the Trollskull 6 for sure, just in case. So there was
You
no
are
question.
well known.
But yes, I will heartily thank him and appreciate it. And then, so that's near the end of that day, I will go home, and this is when I will open up my clone dimension, and I will wish for my clone.
You do your 8th level spell for Demiplane.
Yes.
And this is a fresh Demiplane? It's not the one you've been using?
No, I will make this a new one.
Okay. Yeah. You wish for it and it appears. What is the container that the clone is in?
So, okay, so if I get to create it, I was thinking I will make it totally high tech Azurin. It will be sort of just like this pod holding holding open, and have the top that just slides off and a mechanical hinge.
Yeah. Like
And
a
all
thin,
metal
crystalline, yeah, like a sideways back to tank.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got one Sitting in your demiplane.
Good.
Fucking wish, man. High level D&D is weird.
Well, yes. Well, now I have to start counting the days, because just because it exists doesn't mean it's ready.
Right. You see that inside this apparatus there is a small lump of quivering flesh that pulses with a heartbeat. About the size of a tennis ball at the moment, I'd imagine. It's gonna
Yes,
take some time to germinate.
it does. It does.
Incubate, rather.
And then, so that will end that day. On fourth day, I will go and see if, I guess I will go to the crow's nest and hope that I can find an Order of Whispers person or someone that can put me in contact with them.
Yes. Yeah, there are Whispers agents staged at the upper level of the crow's nest.
And I'll ask them for silence. Because I didn't realize that was a ritual spell.
Yeah, easily enough. So Order of Whispers. Yeah.
And that one does take 6 hours, so it'll be sort of a all day at the crow's nest or wherever they would like me to go.
Well, I'm trying to think of what an Order of Whispers. So most of the Order of Whispers are rogues of some sort or another. Some of them have like one-off magical abilities. A lot of them have special items. They do have mages though. Those are a little more rare. So I would say, being who you are, a member of the Trollskull 6, Slayer of many dragons, they would have to send for a Lightbringer to come in. Someone with higher level magical training, even though it's a lower level spell, like someone with the wherewithal to have written that down in a spell book. But within the day, because of how Asura Gates work, they have someone there who is able to provide you with a spell book.
And again, I am greatly appreciative.
You actually find that in this particular instance, it is someone in a similar situation to you. They're not a sorcerer, they're not a spellcaster at all, but over time they developed a similar ability to ritually cast magic through a very complex series of repetitive practices. So there's this like sort of ritual only book as well.
Definitely feel the kinship and understanding. And I'll try and tell them maybe some of my innate sorcerer, or not necessarily innate, but my gifted sorcerer abilities. And say, oh, it's like I wasn't born with it either, but you know, crazy things are gonna happen.
I'd say they're enemies. This would be like a younger boy. And you get this moment where they're like, huh, maybe if I crawled down at the Thaumanova, did a little recon, I could do a report, but if I got exposed, you know, I could be safe about it. I'm sure the Priory could come up with something to take all the dangerous stuff and channel it away. You see like the gears turning. How can I become a sorcerer?
You never know what'll happen. Just be careful. Don't touch anything that's flashing. Usually a bad sign.
They appreciate the advice.
And I guess at that point I would just wait till Galatar gets home so I can bug him for a couple of spells as he's wandered away.
Yeah, whatever spells you want, man.
I would like to get Alarm and Find Familiar and Phantom Seed and Telepathic Bond, because I never play with my telepathy, so now I'm going to make all of you listen to me.
What was the third one that you said?
Phantom Steed.
Oh yeah, I've got all 4 of those. You can absolutely copy them.
Yeah, just ask if you had like a spare spell book that I could bum for a couple days, because that'll take me a while.
Would probably have to get you a spare spell book because the only spare spell book that he has is has his spells in it. Oh, unless you're not needing one to write it, because you have that, right? You just need
Yeah,
one to
he didn't
copy
want to
from.
inconvenience.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, then I've
Yes.
got an extra spell book with just my ritual spells in it.
Yes, one of your backups. Because yeah, I have mine. I get it for free with the feet, I assume.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It magically appears.
Right. What? To be
I think
fair,
Altar would
I-
probably offer you the crystalline cube if you wanted it for your spell book, because it's a piece of Asuran tech.
I don't even remember. I mean, I know we had a bunch of them.
It comes with some preloaded cantrips. And I mean,
Oh,
you
I-
wouldn't be able to use the
I'll
not
say I
ritual
wouldn't be able to use
spells,
them.
but
Yeah. Nah.
it just looks cool.
I'll have an old school book for now. Actually,
Lame.
have paper.
Boo.
Yeah, the Crystalline Chronicle. Well, I guess ours is a cube. Let me make sure it specifies. The original item requires attunement by a wizard.
Mm,
Oh yeah, I forgot. I think it does require attunement by a wizard.
a wizard.
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
Eh.
it does.
Well, I always assumed like role play wise, it was Kolinar who gave it to me, since he gave me a couple spells for free too. With the feet, gave them to me. It was Kolinar who gave them to me.
He just has a massive library of unused spell books that he can just hand anybody that wants to come and learn some at any time. Always prepared, that Colonel.
Right. Oh, and then one of the other rarer spells. I will actually, while Birdie or while Galatar's still on, I will hit up Birdie and ask him, Birdie, are you busy? Would you like to go see our old friend, Mr. Zordy? You're muted, or can't hear you.
Test.
Yes?
Okay, there we go. I don't know what went wrong there. Mr. Who? Oh, yes, Mr. Z. We don't say his name, Alexa. Yeah,
Oh, he's a prince now. He's a known commodity.
it's true. I wouldn't take any chances though. Yeah, I love him. Is it what are you looking for?
Something very slightly rare. It's a spell that, I don't know. You know, he deals in the more exotic things, so
What's the spell? How do you know I don't have it?
it's instant summons.
Yeah, we can go to you think he's gonna have a spell? He seems more of like a drugs and alcohol.
Well, he'll have connections to the things that maybe we shouldn't. I mean, I know we're pretty big, but
Yeah.
they don't want to give us still the big guns.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with. I guess I could see if he has anything worth purchasing. Yeah.
Plus, it's always a fun time.
He is really something, isn't he?
Mm. Yeah, we haven't seen him since everything's changed with him.
Yeah, true. See how he's getting on now that he's highfalutin
He's a made
or
man.
so. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with Alexa to visit Mr. Zord.
We'll go in through Melanie's just so we can annoy her with our existence.
What was the last thing you remember Zord telling you all? Like what was his last situation?
It was the
Uh,
submarine, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was the airship.
Oh, maybe it was the airship. Yeah, getting out of Why? What did he say
The
to us?
last-
Is like, don't look for
I
me.
don't fucking
Don't come to
remember.
me.
I think the last thing I said to him was kind of a threat,
Uh-oh.
like make sure Kolinar gets back alive. I think that was the last thing I said. Something.
Yeah, I think it was on an airship or like thereabouts or something.
Oh, he piloted the airship into Ara that you guys were on.
Yeah.
And I think like away. Or maybe not. I can't remember.
We don't fucking remember.
What are we forgetting something? Is he like, don't come looking?
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh my
You
god.
guys make your way down to the harbor ward, and you find Melody Marshgrass
Melody.
at her shop, surrounded by her plants. Sylvari woman, big, no pun intended, bushy green brown hair. As you enter, she is behind the counter, watering the plant in a little hanger by one of her windows. She turns to see you, and she smiles. Oh, hello there. Pleasure to see you again. I hear you're doing very well for yourselves. Congratulations. Are you here to see the
Thank you.
boss?
I'm looking through my notes.
I don't-
I'm so
Fuck,
nervous
I
now.
don't like how happy she is. Yeah, of course.
Regret
We're
suddenly
here to
washes
see the
over me.
boss. See how business is doing. Perhaps some things we'd like to discuss.
Far be it from me. Please, you know the way. Make yourselves at home. She turns around and continues to water her
appreciated.
plants.
Yeah, we'll head in.
Yeah, you guys head into her little side room, and once you close the door behind you, you're able to find the latch that moves the hidden part of the wall that slides open. You make your way through a series of back corridors until you are eventually, once more, in the sort of central hidden space between buildings that Zardoz Zord uses as a gathering place, a lair of sorts. And you find the man himself sitting casually in an armchair that is rocked back on his hind two legs, feet crisscrossed on the table, a gorgeous pair of purple leather boots, striped pants, his iridescent sort of rainbow-colored cloak over one shoulder, sort of casually tossed over the side of the chair, oversized purple hat with a long white feather. He just seems to be picking at his fingers with a dagger. It's a long, sort of real thin blade, like a stiletto. And as you come in, he sort of raises an eyebrow in your direction. Well, my. Has my day just not gotten so much brighter? Agelbert, a pleasure. Miss
As
Alexa,
always.
always lovely to see you, darling. What
Great
can
to see you.
Zardoz Zord do for the two of you fine people?
I came to see if you know anything about some very rare magics. Uh,
He stops playing with the dagger and sort of like crosses one arm and kind of like runs the dagger along the edge of his throat a little bit. Why, darling, I know a great deal about very rare magics. It's somewhat of a speciality of mine. Please do. He points the dagger at two chairs. Please do have a seat. Let's talk business, shall we?
I'll sit down.
Sure. Yeah, I'll take a seat.
He lifts his feet up and the chair kind of rocks forward into a sitting position. He leans his elbows on the table and plants the dagger. Sets his chin on his hands, stares at the two of you and says, "Now what is it precisely that you're looking for?"
I am looking for a spell that will help me retrieve some items in the field. I do believe it's called instant summons.
And he thinks. You know, that does ring a bell. I seem to recall a tale out of Ilona. A nursery, not a nursery rhyme, it's a little dark for that. A story they tell to entertain the young ones. Something about a thief in the night what needed to hide a particular valuable, some sort of magical muckety muck, so that he could not be caught with it, but he needed to bring it to a very dangerous place. They wanted to call it to him from a great distance. That would be a very special find indeed. It'd be very expensive. Are you just looking for mention of the spell? I'm sure I could find the book of tales that contain the description fairly easily. If you're looking for the spell itself, well, now that's a different matter altogether. Could be on a rare scroll, could be in a lost wizard spell book.
That is what I
Increasingly
was
rare
afraid
and
of.
expensive items.
But hopeful that yes, you would have maybe have a lead of some kind.
Well, I don't necessarily have a lead, but I do have contacts. Since the fall of Zaitan, we have been able to reopen familiar trade channels. Although I would be obliged, of course, if you would keep that information from Inspector Keel. I would hate for her to worry about me and mine and the travel we may or may not be engaging in between here and the Amnoon Oasis.
You know me, I can keep a secret.
I bet we have no interest in that. If it helps dragons die, that's what I see as a good thing.
That could be useful to oil the wheels of commerce, I'm sure. Nevertheless, this will be a somewhat pricey endeavor. Be a lot of overhead. The journey is dangerous. We'll have to get supplies. I'll have to take my crew, which means we will be not conducting our very lucrative business here for quite some time. However, I have faith in my contacts in the free city of Amnoon. Just some mental arithmetic. What is it exactly you hope to acquire? What form?
I mean, a spell scroll would probably be the easiest, I imagine. I can take the chance. I will admit my funds are a little light, so
But I'll say, here's the thing. We can always hit the tables if we need something more. It's never been an issue.
That was funny. You should mention tables. My friend, my contact is not himself a purveyor of such rare and heady wonders, but he does manage the passage of such trade through the Free City, through his casino. It's been quite some time since I paid him a visit. Perhaps I could win a little luck of my own. I tell you what. Is this an urgent matter, or do I have some time?
the pack's not even back yet, so yes, we're not under any sort of time constraint.
Well, the free people of Amnoon have not consented as yet to the construction of an Asura gate in their city. From what I gather, it would ruffle the feathers of the local warlord. They don't want to cause any beef where currently there is none. So we'll have to travel there the longer route. But I shall arrange things with Melody and the rest of my crew. Have someone here to hold down the fort. Take the ship. It'll take time, but I could go start looking now. I don't suppose any of you have plans to travel to Amnoon on your own.
I hadn't thought of it, but I mean, we got time to
Sound like a
kill.
good time. Got nice casinos. Could always earn a buck.
Yeah, apparently I'm probably going to need a little extra cash at the end of the day.
Yeah. How much money do you have, Alexa?
I've got about, 400 gold.
Four
my
hundred?
Oh,
Oh, fuck
I
me!
assure
Why
you,
did I
darling,
even make the trip? That's
that will not cover the expenses. If you're just looking for a scroll of an ancient and hard to locate spell, you can expect that to run you about 2,000 gold pieces. I was going to ask for half up front to help make the journey, you know, present incentives to the appropriate port authorities. If you were looking for something more permanent, some sort of lost wizard spell tome, that would be about double that price.
Well, that's
I
good to know.
cannot guarantee we will find it, only that I know the right places to ask.
Well, that's what I came to you, and I appreciate the information.
So do you wish me to begin this endeavor?
Well, no, I
Maybe.
don't even have the money at the moment.
He just sort of smiles and looks between you two.
Hey, I'm the. How much? So how much do you need to get started?
To find a scroll of sufficient rarity, the total cost will be around 2,000 gold pieces. But with 1,000 gold pieces, I could get preparations underway, begin the journey, and begin to ask the questions that need asking in the free city of Amnon. The rest to be delivered upon completion of the task.
And Alexa, what do you need? You need just a scroll?
Yeah, I think just to try. I'm not asking, Burdak. You don't have to do this.
Alexa, shut up. Z.
I'm fairly good at math, my friend. It
I
sounds
know
like
you are. You are.
charming companion is about 600 gold shy of what she might need.
She is, but we go way back at this point. I mean, we've been in a war together. We've done some stuff on the side together.
That we have.
Surely we can. Well, for one, you know we're good for it.
Well, apparently not if you're quite so short at this time. I don't know about the dragon slaying business, but my business is booming.
Perhaps.
Maybe what you
I'm,
need is a little bit of work to be done. Maybe commission you to
Alexa
perform a job
does.
for
Listen,
me.
I'm fucking flush. I just don't want to part with any of my money for this. Yeah, that sucks, Alexa. I'm he like I'm light myself. Sorry.
No.
Maybe Alexa could do some work for you.
The information alone was all I needed to know was that it existed.
Okay. Great. Alexa, could you wait outside for a minute? Just wanna have a chat with Mr. Zord. I just don't think it's not. Could you just wait up?
All right, if you don't do anything
Yeah, no,
too
please,
stupid.
no. No, I wouldn't.
Well, thank you, Zardos. I really do appreciate the information.
No worries. And if you ever change your mind, I'm right here.
As soon as I get the money together, I know where to come.
Very well.
And I will walk out with a looking over my shoulder at Birdie.
You're gonna. And as soon as the door closes, all right, listen, I'm sure you caught it. I'm fucking swimming in it right now, and frankly, looking to buy. So, what, if money were no object, which frankly it's not, what are we talking here? I know you've got stuff. I know you've got fun stuff, and I like to have a good time. So, is there anything that would catch my attention that you come across that you're looking for a buyer, perhaps?
Well, I do not currently have any exceptional magical items. The Schema has her normal selection of bits and bobs, as always. Here lately, my friend, we have been more in the market of airship parts.
Is that so?
Schematics,
Hmm.
workings of arcane intricacy, expanding markets and such.
Interesting. Who? Just selling them all over, or anyone in
We have
particular?
a few interested buyers who are not necessarily interested in a seafaring vessel that can also sail the skies, but the principle being sound, air superiority is the new wave of the future.
A lot of orders coming in, huh?
I wouldn't say a lot, but quality over quantity.
Interesting. Okay. Well, if you do come across anything exceptional, give me a call.
Certainly.
Where do you head out after that?
Alright.
Did he have anything that you wanted, Birdie?
No. He says he's selling. They're selling like airship parts or something, but honestly, who gives a fuck?
More lucrative and more mass, I guess.
But it's gotta be who's buying them, right? I don't know. Someone's gotta have a lot of
Well,
a
who
lot of
is
capital.
buying airship parts?
Somebody who wants to fly somewhere, but
Who's moving a lot of things that fast then? And what are they avoiding on the ground?
Very valuable questions.
He's not the person to ask them to.
No, he hates answering questions. Well, you want to go gamble? I mean, you could double your money.
Yeah, I guess I need to take my mind off these burning questions now.
Yeah, well, let's go shoot some dice. It's always worked for me. I'm sure with me by your side, I'm sure your luck will improve. Yeah.
I can only hope.
I just gotta stop by the bank on the way there to make a withdrawal.
I mean, mine's at home in the safe, so.
Well, we'll head out tonight and see if we can't breed coins, if it were. make some new ones.
Okay. So you guys go grab some money.
Yeah, I'll withdraw 1,000 gold pieces.
Okay.
I believe is the table limit in Lion's Arch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that works. Yeah.
Okay. How much does Alexa bring into the table?
I'll take my 400. We'll risk it all
Okay.
for the biscuit.
Yikes. Gosh.
Hey, we've not been making any money.
Oh,
Adventuring's hard work.
it is. Alexa, how did you get so poor?
Experiments cost a lot of money.
Um,
Building a lot of things and
yeah,
experimenting with the different items.
sure, sure.
Plus these fucking forks. They're 250 gold just for them. And I had 3, tuning forks.
But that's 250 gold, Alexa. That's not very much. I mean, times 3 is what, 800? That's not. It's not that much
Sure.
gold. I mean, I've bought, clothes for 800 gold. I mean,
I wear
no.
like the same 4 or 5 outfits.
I know. That's why I'm confused as to where it's all going. He leans in and like grabs your arm and he's like, "Are you on drugs?"
Birdie, you know the
It's
answer is
okay.
yes.
It's okay. We've all been there. It's just not letting them have power over you, because I mean, 400 gold. Alexa, I'm worried. That's
Well, you spend, your time gambling. I was spending my time building things.
well, that was your mistake. You should have been out gambling with me.
I don't know. Brita seemed pretty
You
freaked
learn.
out when she ran into the sex orgy.
Look, Brina. I don't know how they have fun up in Holbrack. Okay, but
I would think they'd be into it. They got to keep warm somehow.
that's what I thought. But she'd also lost quite a bit of money, I think, at the start of the night. So it can happen. It can happen.
Okay. Got the random rolls.
Oh boy.
So you two go out and hit the tables. There are a couple of gambling houses around Lion's Arch, so the first check is insight. Read your opponent's
Insight.
intentions.
Are we both
Yeah.
rolling
See if
at
you can
this
bluff 'em.
time?
Yeah, I've already got a competitive roll for them, so you go ahead and both roll
Okay.
your insight rolls, and we'll see whether you
What
succeed or fail.
what can I do to help myself? I know I can.
Yes, all my money on the table.
No, I think actually I can only help others. Yeah, I want another creature. Never mind. All right, insight. Fucking another 9. What the hell is up with that?
Woof.
That is hilarious.
And are you putting your 400 up?
Oh yeah, let's just
Okay.
get over with.
All right. The next roll is deception, to bluff your opponents after you read them.
22. Wow, piss poor roll. With a plus 17, you think it'd be a
Oh.
little higher.
I'm apparently only rolling 2s tonight. That's 3 2s in a row.
Alexa, baby, no. You can't. No.
And it's not like I have a bad modifier either.
And seeing how the night is going, as things kind of get a little out of hand and Alexa is going into debt, make an intimidation check.
All right, I will flop my tides just for the sake of advantage.
Oh,
There we go.
man. Okay. Oh.
Not that it
Wow.
really is gonna help much.
It's close.
So at the end of the night, the tally is that Alexa has lost 200 gold with 1 success. You successfully intimidate the last person into giving you back what you've lost. You notice them like pull an ace out of their sleeve, and you just like light up your hands with some flame, and they shove the pot back at you. Birdie had 3 successes, so
Wow.
you gain 2,000 gold.
See, Birdie, that's why I just stay home and build inventions.
And that wasn't bad. Like there was an 18 and a 19 there, and you just rolled really well.
Yeah, Birdie.
Oddly,
That's
all of Birdie's pre-rolls were much higher than Alexa's. Alexa had 12, 16, and 12 to roll against.
That's hilarious.
oh woof, yeah.
And I couldn't. I mean, and again,
Yeah.
I don't have bad modifiers in that. That's just I don't have anything.
Yep.
Just rolled
Wow.
like
Luck of the
garbage.
dice. Yeah. However, Birdie does make out like a bandit.
As
Yeah,
per usual.
per usual. I feel like he's got his like the regulars in there, like the really rich people who he's like now has a bit of like a relationship with, and like, I don't know, Daryl, I think tonight's your night, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and with Alexa running interference and losing, rolls everybody to a false sense of
How much-
security.
How much money do you all have? Like, is everybody poor, or is it just
I-
Alexa?
I
Well,
have
that
like
was the last of my-
13,000 gold.
Okay. I was gonna
More
say
if I
just-
count gems and stuff.
Yeah, same. I'm at like
Yeah, I'm just below
10,000 or
10,000
something.
after the 500 gold I spent today.
It's just Alexa.
I have 900
Lost.
gold on my person. That was the last of my gold in the safe.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So now you're down to 1100 after you lost 200.
That is so sad.
Yeah,
So
I got- well-
you could have bought your scroll thing.
Yeah,
No,
you still
I only
have more
had
than
13.
1,000.
Well, I only had 1100. I had 700 gold on my person at that time.
Oh, I see.
I've gone ahead and added in that 200 person. I'm not putting it back in my safe. I'm just,
Yeah.
I changed it into platinum and it's coming with me.
Brina
Well,
does not. Brina's got. Oh no. Okay.
like $20 and a loose gummy bear.
She's got some gold in the bank. Not what you guys have, and then she's got some platinum on her person, but it's not what you guys have.
So let me ask this, Ryan. The free city of
Amnoon.
Amnoon. Would I know what are their table limits?
The table limits are likely the same because it's there is no like
But it's
million
like
gold thing because people
going
don't
to
make
the
that kind of money.
going to the dog track versus going to Las Vegas, It's like I don't know.
It's less
Let
about
me-
the table limit and more about the amenities and the experience.
I see. One of these days, I'm gonna find a high roller game.
No,
at
you
one point.
cannot earn more than 2,000 gold for your fucking good roll.
I'm all
Alex.
in, as I say, earning 20,000 gold fees. Fair enough. I would like to buy some diamonds, though. Jimmy, are you done? Is Alexa finished, or?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that does, I do believe, literally end what I wanted to accomplish over our downtime. Or I'm probably just hang out, get crazy. Definitely lots of different boys, probably some different girls. Have some fun. But yes, that will wrap it up for me.
Not gonna bum any money to order your scroll.
Oh well, it's not that the scroll, the spell itself also costs a shit ton of money. So I'll
Like
cross
it's
that
the
bridge
scroll
later.
if I can't afford the fucking spell.
Right, I think it's like 50 gold a pop to cast it.
Oof.
Oh no, to cast the spell, you have to have a sapphire worth 1,000 gold pieces that you destroy.
Oh,
Bring the
that was
object to you.
50. That's funny.
Yeah, no,
Whoa.
it's ridiculously expensive to use.
Eh.
What about the other spell you wanted?
Oh, contact other plane. Eh.
Okay. I was looking forward to seeing you guys going down that rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, I guess I didn't think about it, and he's walked away again.
Come back to it if you want later.
Yeah.
What's Birdie doing for downtime today?
Well, I'd like to buy some diamonds, as my diamonds were consumed.
Easily.
Or
done.
my big diamond was. So What's the gold piece cost for Resurrection Diamond? 500 gold pieces.
So it depends on what spell. There's Raise Dead, and then there's Resurrection, which is higher level.
And then Revivify takes like a 100. or
So I think
something, right?
Raised Dead is 300. I want to
I
say.
think Revivify is 300.
Oh shit. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
But the spell Resurrection requires
It's like
a single
1,000.
diamond worth 1,000.
Raised Dead is
I think
500.
500. Which would make
Okay.
Revivify
300.
And that's what we had on us was Raised Dead. Because Revivify is only good in the moment.
And I think
I
Revivify.
thought we had resurrection used on us because that's what has the -4, right?
That's Raised Dead.
I think they
Oh.
both do.
Mm.
They both
Yeah,
have a
I
-4.
think they do. Revivify it's a 300 gold piece equivalency, but it can be multiple diamonds. It doesn't have to be a single diamond.
Oh.
Well, if I can get if I can find in Lion's Arch 2 500 gold piece diamonds.
Yeah, you make a specific gem merchant very happy today.
Good. And then if I can find I'll say like 600 worth of smaller diamonds for like 2 Revivifies.
Easily done.
Let me add those real quick. Okay. And then I've got. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so I pick up the diamonds that I wanted. I will say, so I believe last downtime, I had commissioned some like flyers, I think, for a like a talent manager for myself of like a help wanted
Yes.
ad. So if I could spend some time picking those up and putting them on the like the notice boards for work around Lion's Arch.
Okay, and what is it you're expecting this entity to do for you?
Me, Alex doesn't quite know. Birdie is sure that it's like he's gonna be a star and he needs an agent kind of thing of like, you know, somebody to help manage all the events and run errands for me occasionally if I need it. Half like talent agent, half like personal assistant. And he would distribute those help wanteds. Yeah. Around town.
Making some notes.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, you take some time. The sheets look nice. They're very well done. It's actually the same printing press that makes the little one-page gazetteers, the newspaper notices around
Love
town.
that.
Yeah, it's good work. So you spend some time posting those around the different notice boards.
Yeah, like inquire within the Trollskull Tavern kind of thing. And I don't think it says. Well, no, it probably does. It probably says like Birdie the Bard is like seeking, like X, Y, and Z kind of thing.
Does
Um,
it have any instructions on who to contact inside the bar?
It just says inquire within the Trollskull Tavern.
He
So
is
for-
self-labeling Ryan. He says, Birdie the bar, they ought to know. Also,
So-
if it doesn't say talent manager dash like
Yeah, talent manager
Personal-
/ personal assistant.
personal assistant, responsibilities include picking up dry cleaning.
Yeah, must like like under like the like must have one, be attractive. Like, dude,
To
it's
person-
it's like
Develop
really
a personal sense of style. This can be I can help you with this part, like
yeah, like must know people in the industry, not define what the industry is. It just says must know
industry.
people in the industry.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh God.
Making some more notes.
You're gonna have fucking creepy stalker fans show up now, motherfucker. And like we're all gonna get our house bombed.
They
and
don't
it's
live
all
in
gonna
the
be your fault.
house. They don't live in the house.
Yeah,
They
that's gonna be the problem.
Now they will need a key for when they drop my dry cleaning off, but they're gonna be responsible.
And that's how
about
they
it.
leave a bomb under our table, like a fucking spell sigil seal. I forget what that spell is.
Oh, glyph of warding.
Good, yes. When we
Um,
all die.
Oh shoot. Anyway, I will say, the kind of final thing. So for Birdie's stuff, he took the ability score increase and took specifically a point to strength and a point to intelligence. So I think he would go find his way towards like the library. You know, where nerds go. He kind of assumes, and
picking up people in the library.
he makes his way in and like kind of definitely feels like a fish out of water. Like I don't know if he's ever been to a like in like a real proper library before, or like that's just not his shtick. He kind of walks in and kind of goes up to the person in the front. It's like, hello. Lot of books. Lot of books. I was not I didn't think there'd be this many. It's come to my attention recently that there are things I don't know. And I was wondering if there's just like a book of knowledge that you have that I could maybe peruse and sharpen up the old sticks, as it were. I just some light reading, I'd say.
Where did you go? Which library?
It's like a fucking local library kind of thing, or like I don't know, or I know there's a book place that Galatar sometimes goes to.
The Temple of the Goddess of Knowledge.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
Temple of
the
Cormyr.
one. Yeah, he kind of walks in and he's got like a feather boa thing going on that day. Of like this like hot pink like feather thing. Kind of like whips it around when he makes his entrance.
If this does not end with Birdie trying to pick up someone in the library, I will
Make that
be
happen.
upset. Just
the-
being like, oh, you can help me, you can be my tutor.
The woman behind the desk is maybe 40, maybe not.
Okay.
She has brown hair pulled into a braid down the back. As you approach, she's facing away. You can see it's like a French braid. that runs down the back of her head, kind of like lays over top of what looks like gray robes, fairly nondescript, but clean and like well made. She turns around. You see she's about 40-ish, sort of tanned skin, clearly a native of the Southlands here. Eyes like a hazel, like not quite green, not quite brown. She turns towards you, and you notice that she has those eyes where there's the rich kind of color of the iris, and then outside, like the edge of the iris, is like a dark brown ring, and just they're very pretty eyes, and an otherwise not plain, but certainly not flamboyant person. But they're noticeable. And she turns to look at you, and you start saying this. And she just kind of leans forward a little bit, just dead ass. You say that apparently there are things I don't know. She says, "You're kidding." And you
Honestly,
continue your spiel.
I was surprised as the next person, but I don't know. I'm getting on in life now, and I guess you start to have to accept things like that.
Don't we all?
Not many things, I feel like, honestly. Not many, but a few. And I feel like a couple of weeks I can pretty much get there.
And what is it you're looking for?
I'm sure you've got one in like a book of knowledge. I don't know. We deal a lot with dragons recently. If you have like a pamphlet on that, or
Something with big pictures?
that would be. Hey, that. Wait a sec. What kind of pictures? Do you have?
The kind that don't have written words on them.
Okay, what's the meaning there?
You know, words, right?
No,
put in
I do. Thank you. Oh my god.
Some laws.
I know I should not have done this. Listen, I need to get smarter. I will read one book, maybe. The first half.
A valiant effort.
Thank you. It's a big step for me. And I was hoping if there was one book that would be worth doing that with, reading, you would know.
I know a great many books worth reading. To choose
Okay.
one from among so many worthy targets, I don't even know if I'm smart enough for that.
I mean, honestly, we can just pick one if you don't think you're up to it. I don't think it's. It's probably just gonna sit for a while. I don't know. I'm gonna leaf through it. It's gotta grab me though, you know. Maybe if there's some pictures that wouldn't hurt.
Where are you from? Originally.
Really, originally, Lion's Arch.
Hang on. And she turns around and just like walks off into the dark recesses of the temple. You see her stop by a desk, and there's like an older woman with gray hair. It's kind of like frazzled, just this loose gray mane around her shoulders. Her robes are much brighter, brilliant white with a little bit of blue embroidery around the edges of the hems. And she kind of like leans down and starts talking to her, and the woman kind of looks up at her, confused. Talk back and forth for a minute. The woman sort of points, and you can see she's giving her directions, talking like go left and gesturing, and the woman says, nods her head, pats her on the shoulder, disappears into a back hallway. 5 minutes go by. People kind of come and go.
Lee, it sure doesn't move at quick pace around here. Oh my god.
Eventually, she comes back and she's carrying a very small book in her hands. It's maybe 7 inches tall, maybe 5 inches wide, and about an eighth of an inch thick.
Perfect.
She comes up to the desk and says, you know, without a lot of specifics to your tastes and things that you're interested in, it was a little difficult, but for a native boy, this is usually pretty popular. She hands you this book, and on the front, it just says in Crichton, Kobaya Mariner, which you've lived here long enough, you know is the name of the founder of Lion's Arch. His descendant is the current Commodore, whose name I forget.
Gotcha.
It's effectively like the old man in the sea. like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna choose a book to read and you choose like the smallest possible book, but as you take it, like the cover's fairly tame, and as you open it, there's like a big full page etching in pencil, or not pencil, but like a
Yeah.
just line art of a sloop on the ocean with waves, some like
Oh, that's
little
nice.
simple bird V's.
That's good. I was worried. There for a bit. Kind of closes it. Like, perfect. I'll take it. How
She
does
reaches
that?
under, pulls out this
Okay.
massive like dictionary-sized tome, flops it down on the desk, flips it about 3/4 of the way through, pulls up a pen and quill. Name?
You can just put down Agelbert. I don't want anybody knowing I was here.
Address?
Trollskull Alley, the Trollskull Inn and Tavern.
Really?
Yeah. That's the digs.
Huh. I know
Yeah.
the tavern pretty well. A friend of mine lives in that street.
Oh, who was that?
Oh, I'm sure you wouldn't know him. His name's Vincent.
Nope.
She writes down,
What a dick.
you're not... I mean, you don't live in the bar.
No. It's just on the alley.
Well, right, but I need to know which building. You said the Trollskull Inn and Tavern, but it used to be an inn, and now it's where the heroes of Tyria
Yeah.
live. I mean,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I live in the penthouse suite. Yeah.
really.
Yeah. I know. I looks can be deceiving, but most people know me as Bertie the Bard. And he pulls out a business card.
She takes it and holds it up to the light and looks at it, turns it over on the back, looks at the front.
With 10 gold piece a card, I like to think it's one of those things like a dollar bill where if you hold it up to the light,
There's
there-
like markings.
there's like a little like like birdie like looking at you kind of thing.
She kind of rubs her fingers on it a little bit. Huh. It's really good paper.
I know.
You're one of the Trollskull 6.
Yeah, kind of the leader, but we don't like to put titles on it, I don't think. You know, some people get a little fickle about those kinds of things. But basically the leader, I'd say. Yeah. De facto, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say I was elected by my peers. Kind of chosen, I guess.
Fucking, we all get a collective like shiver at some.
Yeah, I
what
like
the
to
fuck?
think like we just get chills down our spines sometimes. We're just like, I gotta be Birdie again.
Right.
Every time Birdie lies, an angel loses its wings.
She gives you a skeptical look and just says, "Huh. All right then." She scribbles out your address on the book. Says, well, I mean, if you're one of the Trollskull 6, I suppose keep it as long as you need it.
Well, I
I'm
appreciate that. Mora,
Mora.
nice to meet you.
Maura. Sister Mora.
Mora,
I'm
Sister Mora.
an initiate here at the temple.
Well, pleasure to meet you.
It's certainly been an experience.
Now, keep in mind, I don't want you getting the wrong idea, right? My shtick is not about books. You know,
Oh no,
what
I got that.
Yeah. Now you all do a real bang up job in here. Don't get me wrong. I mean, look at all of them. They're all over the place. But
It's a
you know.
wondrous place.
Well, you know,
The knowing mistress certainly has her eye on us.
seems that way. But Mara, and he kind of you know, wags the book. With this in hand, you all are in good hands. I think this will get me what I need.
And they never see it again.
Watch like the light leaves her eyes and she sort of like stands back up to full height. Have a delightful day.
Noodles, and already kind of like the feather boa like snaps around, and he saunters out of the library, book in hand.
You out to the street, like cast one glance over your shoulder. You see she's just like turned half a turn sideways and is sitting down, just staring into the middle distance.
I've seen some shit, man.
Yeah, Christ alive, we are on a razor's edge in this fucking country.
Some people love us. Some people cannot believe we breathe.
That's the guy. No, that's him. That's the guy. But yeah, that's that was the little thing I had thought of in terms of how Birdie gets smarter, and he'll spend some of that time leafing through, kind of seeing what he can glean, skimming for the salient details.
You know, oddly enough, the book talks about Kobaya Mariner, who was the original Commodore, the founder of Lion's Arch. It actually has a sketching of a statue that existed before the rising of Or. Oh no, sorry. It's a statue that exists in town. Sorry, it's in the Harbor District. But it's got a little bit of embellishment on it. It's not just a black and white. It's got a little bit of paint that's sort of dried on the page. Like a hand done illuminated manuscript type of drawing. And like Kawhi Mariner wasn't fucking around. He was kind of a dashing dude. He had like a big coif of hair, kind of like long in the back so it flowed in the breeze a bit. Bright gold sash, like cloth of gold. The sort of captain's jacket with like the deep lapels that crisscross over. One of them has like gold accents running up, but it's sort of bared down to the chest. Big cuffs, sword drawn with like a lion on the handguard.
Yeah.
And the book itself is, while not intended to be brain boosting, it is full of information, but it's presented in a sort of not lyrical way, not quite poetry, but it's in a sort of repetitive way that they use like keenings, kind of like Old Norse keenings, where it's like common euphemisms and metaphors and titles that reference other myths that you kind of have to go look up to get. but it's a certain kind of mnemonic device for remembering things, and it sort of unintentionally has that consequence over time as you sort of dig through it. But yeah, it's quite
Look at him
interesting.
accidentally learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all I've got in terms of downtime stuff.
Yeah, I thought of actually a couple things.
Hmm.
Of course, I double checked. The silent spell isn't available to wizards, so I cannot actually transcribe it.
Oh, it's not on that list.
It is not on
Oh wait,
that list.
so it has to be on the wizards list?
Yes, because I'm taking the wizard ritual caster feat.
Oh. Is gentle repose?
It is.
It was Gentle Repose got
Apparently.
added by Tasha's, I believe.
That's how it did. Because I also was a little surprised by that.
Cool.
But yeah, Silent isn't one.
Yeah, but
Well,
I added
I
back,
was
so
gonna say, take the gold.
I got 1,000 gold now.
Ooh,
Hey.
So there we go. Back into
look at
4
you.
digits.
Are you gonna try to get Zardoz to go look for your spell scroll?
Oh no, because that's literally all of my money.
What do you need money for? We provide magical food and drink. We run a tavern. We slay
This
dragons.
is true.
Get your spell scroll. You deserve it. Spend some
Well,
money on you.
I don't have the other 1,000 to pay for it once he finds it. So
We'll figure that out.
yeah, I'd rather
We'll slay
not.
another dragon between now and then, probably.
No, but I will ask Galatar again. Sort of more of an maybe at dinner or one time later in the week, in a sort of bemoaning fashion of trying to find another spell and just can't seem to come up with it, and trying to find contact with other plane.
Oh, I'm familiar with the idea of the spell, but I do not myself know how to do it. Unless
I was gonna say it was suggested, so
You have encountered this spell before, I believe. In a heavy grimoire.
oh, is that one of the things in the really large grimoire?
I believe. It depends. Which grimoire are you talking about?
I don't know, man. There have been so many. There was the one that had like, I think up to 8th or 9th level spells. That was the one I was just thinking of. Maybe it was only up to 7th level spells, but that was the one where like it would have taken forever and a lot of gold to like copy over every spell. So I think I've only copied over 2 or 3. And then there was the evil grimoire, and then there was the first grimoire that we found. I don't know which
I was
one.
thinking it was the what's his name? The island battle.
Oh, the Dark Liches grimoire?
The Risen Prince Elisao,
Yeah.
the subject of the recent smash hit tragedy play.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, was it his grimoire?
I don't believe so. Actually, I forgot he even had a spell book.
Yeah, I don't have my notes out at the moment. I'm gonna be honest, so
I'm
would have to dig
fine.
through and.
This is what I've been digging through. I've been trying to find out what happened to the book. So I believe the book that you got from Zamon's mansion.
Book from Zamon's mansion. I think I'm recalling this. But that was not the Dark Evil book.
It was a heavy grimoire.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of the book you got from the Sunken Citadel, the Ruins of the Unseen.
Yes,
where
that's the
you
one that
roll
like
Flame
converts
Skull.
you into some sort of
That
monstrosity.
Is the Book of the Unblinking Eye that
Yeah.
you entrusted to Grandfather Zatembe to give to his friend Ogden.
Right, who came up earlier. Yeah.
It's all connecting.
It's all one world,
Yeah, after spider
but
webs,
many
man.
planes. Yeah, if it wasn't an especially evil grimoire, then I either would have kept it, or is there a grimoire that I donated again to either the Temple of Cormyr or the German Priory. I can look back through my notes, but I feel like I probably just have it if it wasn't particularly evil.
So, wow, I don't have any notes about the fight with that lich. I'll just go through and check my notes on that too.
Next time I do a campaign, I think all my notes are going to be digital so that I can just copy and like search for things
Control
instead of
F.
trying to, go through like 150 pages of just notebook paper.
Yeah. So I don't remember if Risen Prince Elisal had a spell book.
I think he just had the book that would give a free feat.
Right, that's what he
Oh.
had. The one with the magic initiate feat in it.
Yes, Magic Initiate Cleric. That's right.
Mm.
Because
I
that's how I
remember
got the shield spell. The cleric shield spell.
So in the upstairs study of Minister Zamon's mansion, there was a heavy grimoire,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe you looked at it and spent at least a day checking it out, and you had the option to learn how to summon the shade of a Mersat.
Oh yes, that's right. Because you could like summon the demonic entity or whatever, the Masat or Mersat's entity.
Yeah, but it also
I
had
remember this.
contact other plane, private sanctum, and teleportation circle.
Yes, because I believe I
Sanctum.
copied teleportation circle. I did not copy private sanctum. I don't think.
So the question is, what did you do with the book? I do not have notes about that.
I will double check my notes. It'll take me a while to go through them. I want to say that I either have it or that I gave it for safekeeping to the Temple of Cormyr, because there was
That would
also
be
the
my
aspect of it
assumption.
summoning a dark entity. So I think I
Yeah,
might have turned it over.
That might be what you did.
Yeah. Because I think I tried to decide if we would ever, like, if that would be useful to us. And it was kind of like, I mean, it would just attack us and we wouldn't do much with it. So yeah, I think I might have just copied the spell and turned it over, but I will double check my notes. And I think maybe we could always ask to like see it briefly, later.
We'll figure it out later. Again, it's not important. It's just a fun spell to have because filling out my ritual book, I might as well.
Yeah.
I will say that.
But you need a sapphire that costs 1,000 gold. That's going to be your last 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, but you also have to copy it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. That's why I'm just filling out the book. I didn't say I was going to use them.
I will say that you have plenty of time. So, sometime over the next, over the next several days, just checking in with Grandfather Zatembe. They don't hold dangerous books in the temple in Lion's Arch. Safe as the city is, it is a city of pirates, and they are not taking any chances, so that book would have been entrusted to the German Priory's special collections. Now, you being who you are, you can probably get special dispensation from Stuart Gix when he returns, if you wished to maybe tour the special collections.
I just want to say that it's such a practical approach for a group of really smart, analytical people to be like, yeah, the city's safe, but it's still a city of pirates. I just really appreciate that. That's consistent character, Here for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alexa, if you would want to, access, I think I gave it to the Temple of Cormyr, so it's probably in that German Priory special collection. We could, if we've got some downtime to the troops get back, we probably could go take a look. I actually have been to the German Priory that I assume the special collection is at, the main outpost, so I could teleport us there.
Yeah, wherever. That would be great. That's just filling out my book. It's something new to do.
Yeah, we'll send a message to Stuart Gex then and just say, hello, this is Galita. Just wanted to see if Alexa and I might be able to access the special collection to look at a book I had previously given.
A couple of moments pass, and you hear the sort of cranky voice of Gix. And he just says, I'm sure something like that could be arranged. I'll send word to have someone meet you at the entrance. You won't be able to enter the special collections without an escort, but I'll notify them. When are you going?
I'll send another message and just say, well, I can teleport there, as soon as possible. If you need some time, we can wait. It's just, whenever it's convenient, we're the ones asking the favor. So
Wait till tomorrow. I'll let Ogden know.
I've never met Ogden in person. This is exciting. I mean, I've somewhat spoken to him. I just, by proxy. I don't think I've ever actually gone to talk
Always
to him in
exciting
person.
to meet people.
Yeah, but we can teleport tomorrow. Sorry, I forget sometimes that with this spell I hear it and you don't necessarily, and then my brain's already moved beyond that. But yeah, they said tomorrow we could go and check it out. Ogden will meet us and will let us into the special collection.
That sounds great.
Perfect.
All right. So let me get back to my notes here. I will say that some time passes, and before out of town trips are made, several days pass. You guys have your downtime. Eventually, the packed forces do finally make the long journey back, and as they approach the city, they are like word precedes them, so preparations are made. Everybody turns out. When they arrive, the packed forces are greeted with cheers, fanfare, music, bright banners are hung, songs are being sung. Even the dregs of the windward anchorage line the streets, leaning from windows, everyone trying to see the triumphant heroes as they return. Amidst the noise and the joy of celebration, there is a somber kind of undercurrent. People have heard about how it went, but behind every smile hides a tear for a friend or a loved one no longer marching. The day of their arrival, it's easy enough for all of you to hear muttering through the crowd. Some sad, some worried. You hear people say so few have returned. You hear other people that are much more optimistic. Well, the dragons might be strong, yeah, but look how many survived. The opposite take. There are many missing, but look how many survived. And still some others, clearly that say, there's always hope, especially with heroes like the Trollskull 6 among us. How can we lose? So it's a mixed bag, but generally it is a festive atmosphere. At long last, the soldiers trudge into the city center near the harbor. Crowds gathered, following all around. Marshal Traherne, looking much healthier now, stands with General Almora, Steward Gix, and the Master of Whispers, and gives a brief speech to honor those who fell, and to congratulate all those who lived to fight another day. And with that, the companies are dismissed. That night, all the taverns fling their doors wide. Floods of patrons shower the champions with ale, excellent food. Everyone's eager for first-person accounts of the war against the dragons. Everyone wants to be seen praising and to make sure their praise is received by those who risk their lives for the greater good. The Lion Guard are on duty to do the guarding and make sure the peace is kept, since they are not part of those who travel to the Maguma. Trollskull Tavern is the epicenter of a crowd that really kind of encompasses the whole of Trollskull Alley. Several smaller pubs within earshot set up makeshift tables outside to serve partygoers on the street, hoping to avoid accidental destruction of their humble establishments in the face of such merriment. I don't think I've gone over this, and it's not necessarily an important figure for all of you, but because of your successes in the skill challenges leading up to the Battle of Dragonstand, the casualties of the Maguma campaign were minimal. There were, I believe, 2,400 soldiers in the Maguma region, and that included, overall, that included Lion Guard. There were 2,400. There were 192 casualties. Deaths. There were many casualties, but 192 deaths in the battle for Dragonstand. Let me go over some of these numbers. But briefly, during the festivities, Marshal Traherne comes to you, again offers his personal thanks, and tells you that the Pact is going to take some much-needed R&R. The journey back was not combative by any means, but it was long, and it was trudging, and the men and women who fight beside you all need rest. The supplies desperately need replenished. They've gone through enough food to feed like 2,000 people for several days, for 2 months almost. So it's any further massive movements against dragons are going to have to wait. But as he's pulled you aside and has your ear, he says to each of you, "I could hardly believe the reports when they came in that you'd taken down yet another, this time without aid of the Pact at all. I think that says a great deal about your strength, but perhaps even more about the necessity, or the lack thereof, for what it is we are doing. I still think it's an important body. Until this point in our history, the three orders of Tyria did not coordinate with one another. And certainly the 5 capital cities did not have as close diplomatic relationships as they certainly do now. It's my intention that when the Elder Dragon's threat has ended, the Pact shall remain as a peacekeeping force. Should anything else arise, we will be in good standing and ready to repel it, united. I imagine everything will be scaled down, but we'll do what we can to maintain a presence, perhaps taking Claw Island as a sort of neutral location. I haven't worked that out with the Commodore yet, but we'll see. Do you have any idea what plans you might have next?"
We fly by the seat of our pants.
Yeah,
Always.
we
But it seems to work for you.
don't
That
really
dragon
know
came
where the
out of
other
fucking
dragons
nowhere.
are.
But we have been looking in, well, I've been doing a lot of research into Primordis, also into the Flame Legion, because it seems like maybe if we could take them out, it would bolster the ability of the child to help with the upcoming 2 battles, because, we've taken out 3 of the 5 dragons, but I think the 2 that are remaining are likely the strongest. So
Having some additional firepower, especially against Krankatorek, would certainly be useful. The High Legions have been hesitant to loan us many more of their troops and supplies because of their constant struggles with the Flame. It might be worth your time to check in with Ritlock, Tribune Brimstone, that is. Perhaps the Imperator of the Black Citadel might have more information for you. I don't think we'll be needing you for some time, so your time is certainly your own. If anything else should happen, I'll reach out and contact you immediately. Until then, consider yourselves on shore leave.
Fantastic.
Cool. Also, this has come up a little bit this week, so I just kind of wanted to bring it up here with you because I've heard it a couple times among us. Is there like a compensation package or anything for the work that we do, or is there like an after you slay the dragons, like compensation package? Or I'm just asking because some of us have had to use our money for spells and other things. And Galaxy looks at Alexa and it's just like, I just want to make sure like we're all going to be okay after slaying the dragons. None of us are in poverty.
I don't think the pact has any money to give us.
Well, I just didn't know if there was like a plan, a strategy. You just mentioned long-term plans. I felt like now was a good time to ask about long-term benefits, pensions, any of that kind of stuff.
I mean, the other soldiers are just like regular people that used to be
Okay,
farmers or
Carla,
something.
let the man
and were
answer the question before
adventurers.
you start giving your practical answers, okay? I am asking about us as a group. We are contracted somehow. I really never saw paper, so I don't know. But I just was curious.
Well, no, when you signed to join the Pact as commanders, you took the same deal as the rest of the officers, in that we don't really receive a salary so much. You are special contractors, your skills far and away above those of ordinary citizens.
Sure.
We do pay our soldiers 1 gold piece per day for unskilled labor, 2 for skilled, but it's not really the same thing. You require components for your spells that are more than the annual salary of some of our soldiers, so it's just sort of assumed that we provide our own means.
You just go kill a bandit. You'll have plenty of money.
Well, I don't like having to murder people to
Indeed.
get the money. It just seems. I'm just saying, like, I feel like if I have to fill out the 1099 because I'm a special contractor, I should get some sort of pay. I don't know. I mean, I
Sell
don't
some
need
of
the
your
pay.
magic items on the Black Lion Market.
Oh,
You can find more
Alexa, do you have any
belts and
magic
ancient
items?
ruins.
Not that Alexa's poor. Do you have any magic items or anything that you could
I
sell?
really don't need that money that badly.
Oh, okay. I just thought you really
I
needed.
always understood that your group was rather well off.
We are.
Oh,
I mean, for the most part.
I'm very confused. I think
The-
I might have had too much to drink.
Average probably is somewhere in the middle.
If you need to find paying work, I'm sure I could reach out. One of the benefits of being a member of the Pact is we have access to certain contacts that other people don't.
It just, if you happen to hear of any big jobs, anything that would be financially fruitful, I think some of us just didn't prepare for, like retirement savings. I just think it's important to, think about
Some
that
of us
now
aren't
that
good
we're
at
discussing
gambling.
long-term plans.
That would
But I mean,
certainly
we
be
still
something to
would do
think
the work
about
for
from
free.
here forward.
Yeah, I mean, we would still do the work for free. I'm just asking, the questions. I'm not trying to say we wouldn't do the work or kill the dragons, whatever you need. But
Yeah, I mean, look at Alexa's clothes. You have a little pity.
Look,
actually,
I
like
wore the
her
robe
outfit.
for a long time, and I haven't really had any opportunity to buy any other clothes yet. Although I guess I didn't have 20 days or so,
yeah.
but I had other
Yeah,
things to do.
honestly.
You've
We
been
have
very
more
busy.
money than most people ever see in a lifetime.
I mean, I'm not going to deny that.
That's
I
true,
spent
but we
more
also
money than
spend more
people are
money
gonna
than
see.
most people make in a lifetime.
And
It's
you know,
very
people,
expensive to do this work.
we talk about these things, and people come to us and they say, you could sell the massive diamond statue in your bar, and you would never have to think about money
Do we
again.
keep that in our bar?
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
bar.
Oh, I thought there was still an
And people
addictive thing.
tell us that, and that's where I feel like there's a disconnect between kind of what we're doing and I don't know, the world at large. They're coming. I mean, I don't think we're the 1%, maybe
See Traherne like
5%.
put a hand to his forehead and just kind of squints for a minute. See him kind of nod.
He's
Okay.
getting a message.
Oh,
I beg your pardon. I'm terribly sorry. I've been summoned to the crow's nest. Good evening.
did you really get
Can I
summoned, or are you
inside-
faking?
check that?
Insight
And
check.
he is
Insight
out
check.
the fucking door.
Yeah, insight check. I want to know. I want to know.
That's even better than the cell phone.
Sir, stop trying to fake messaging with people that use the sending constantly.
I mean, I believe
What
him.
is?
What a dick.
That's fucking hilarious, though.
We're just trying to raise real economic concerns about the state of contractors in this workflow.
The state of contractor.
Yeah.
The state of a
It-
singular.
It seems like if we agree to be a contractor, we just don't get paid, and somehow I'm a little confused to why that's better.
I mean, we could get some work that would pay. Yeah.
We just need something because like especially at this level, spell components are way more expensive. Equipment's going to be
True.
more expensive. Like it's just important to have something to help cover those
Yeah.
costs.
It might be good to have a little find a work
Are
item.
Are we not making enough money from the tavern?
We don't roll for the tavern anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that ended a long
tavern
time
is
ago.
self-sufficient.
Yeah, but like self-sufficient for the tavern, but like there's no like actual profit. Like we're not
I think
profiting from the
It's a
tavern.
non-
Pays our
a
bills.
nonprofit.
It pays for like food and drink and
Yeah,
our
you
taxes
guys-
and stuff.
It lets us
We-
throw parties.
We don't have like typically when you do a lot of downtime, you have to spend a certain amount of gold per day based on your lifestyle choice, and we're just hand waving that to say that your food and drink and living expenses are covered by the bar, to where you don't need to worry about that. You are effectively set for life if all you do is just live in the bar and live in Lion's Arch.
But do
Plus,
we
Galtar's given like
advertise
Tim
as
5
much?
pay raises, so it's really important that we retain Tim. He's very critical to our operations.
Did Tim ever get to go camping?
I don't think yet, but
I
like here's
took
the
him
long-term
camping
goal.
in the
Oh,
Okay,
did
that's
you
right.
take him
You
camping?
did. You did.
Oh, good. Okay. Because
remember
I
now.
think by the end of this, once all the dragons are dead, what I really want for Tim is just for him to be able to afford a nice plot of land, get himself those sheep or whatever he wanted, and just be a little shepherd boy. And maybe take Leaf with him. Do you think Leaf can leave the bar? I feel like they've
Oh,
become really good friends.
Probably
so,
not.
Maybe we could relocate the bar.
I don't think Leaf would be happy with that either.
Well, Leaf's an interesting character. He did try to kill us once.
Yes. Well,
And
he
it's
tried to
been a
kill
long
like
time.
half of us. The other half of us for like trying to do something.
Yeah, what was it? Bertie like jumped over the bar or something and Leaf like threw shit at him or threw him? I just
Yeah.
remember him being very angry about touching the bar.
He probably burned too much sage.
Yeah, he
Oh.
wasn't being respectful of the bar.
Yeah, got to respect Leaf's bar, but that's what makes him a great barkeep.
It's true.
Takes his job very seriously.
He sure does. It's like it's its only reason for existing as a poltergeist.
We're coming up on 3 hours. I think this is probably a good place to call it since Paige isn't here. I don't know what she wants to do with her downtime. I imagine it's more physical.
Yeah, throw some
It
rocks in the
looked like
river and
she increased
Rock
depth, but didn't
throwing.
choose a second
Ah.
skill, so she hasn't quite finished. I'll get with her and figure out what she wants to do. A couple of opportunities have opened up here. So potentially for next time we get together, a tour of the Priory's special collections, which I'll need to prepare for. maybe commissioning Zardoz to find a magic item.
Mm,
Yeah, it sounded
Maybe a
like he
trip
had
to Amnoon.
a side quest for us. If we were interested.
Zardoz?
Yeah, did he not say something like you could work for me to pay for this?
Well, just it was so the final opening is that if you guys want some money, if you want to find a paying job, you could, instead of going to check in with the Flame Legion, you could just try to find paying work. If you choose to do that, I would like to know what you're going to try to do before next session so I can prep it. But
True, true.
Any bounties on the Flame Legion? You know, like the Char been trying to get like a bounty on the leader for like a couple thousand gold or anything
like a couple
that.
extra like little just mini boss people we could pick
I'm
up.
just trying to hit a couple birds with one stone.
they would almost certainly have bounties for high-level flame targets.
Yes. 'Cause my vote would be we take out the flame targets.
I
and
was
make
gonna
some
say, but
money.
we need them to be dead or alive because the latter is hard.
Well, we could get them alive. We could get them.
We could get them alive, or at the very least, we could get their head.
Char don't really do
You could
alive.
try.
Yeah, we could get them. We could get them. We could get them. I'm confident Birdie could charm them well enough. You know, I got a couple tricks. I think something with the Flame Legion would be fun.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Because
And
then
you
we're
guys have been to the Citadel, so you
Yeah.
you know the Iron Legion, the Black Citadel. You got some points of
Yeah.
contact there.
And I forgot Galatar hit up Ritlock at the end of the last session to ask him to put together some stuff on the Flame Legion. So it would make a lot of sense if we then as a group went there to like get some of that stuff, restock up if Birdie needs like new gun supplies, or maybe they have some upgrades or other things he can look at.
That would be cool.
Bigger grenade.
If I could, yeah, I mean, like the things that come
Here's
to
a
mind. I
bigger
know I've got
grenade.
my
It's one grenade with a
flamethrower.
bunch of grenades attached to it.
It's actually a
fucking cluster
business
bomb.
card that you hand somebody, and the moment your hand leaves it, it just blows up. It could be like Gambit out here.
Yeah,
Using
I
business
would.
cards instead of playing cards.
I would certainly be in the market for some explosive upgrades. In terms of like possibly upgrading the flamethrower. Just because its DC is like 15, which is pretty brutal these days. You know, if they've got any big explosives or grenades, obviously.
He's
I'll
got the money to spend.
certainly go shopping. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe get a tank. You know, anything you want.
Right, a small Harrier jet.
Could get like a pistol upgrade. Well, I've got the Inquest Persuader.
Birdie does seem like the kind of guy who would own a private jet and have an Instagram page about it.
For that, well, you just wait, because I gotta hire my talent agent first, and then
Oh
then I'm
boy.
off to the races. But like possibly trying to tweak that Persuader to have like a. Right now it does like force damage, but have like an explosive component to it. Yeah.
Like maybe where it hits the target, it does damage to the surrounding. Half
Could do,
damage to
could
the
do.
surrounding circles.
Or does like the force damage and like I don't know, some other a little bit of bludgeoning or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and if while we're there, we could find like a staff of power, maybe some, other really high level stuff, or just whatever they would happen to have conveniently in
Guys
a
have
shop.
fucking ridiculous god tier powers right
Look,
now. I don't
Ryan,
know that
you can never stop the hustle, okay? The
I-
moment we stop the hustle, two of us die in a dragon fight. I'm just saying, like, we're just trying
This
to
actually
protect ourselves.
perfectly illustrates my point. Is you guys went into that fight with almost nothing, and you still rocked it. Two of you died, but you brought it right back. Like there's
True.
It was close.
nothing.
A couple
It was
more
close.
breaths, we would have been done.
That's
One more
true.
Yeah,
We were.
I was to say if Jormak had gone under the ice, I had one more tile for a hole on the ice that he could have taken a dive. If he had gone under again and waited for his breath weapon again, he might have taken y'all.
And thank
Yeah.
goodness though for that whatchamacallit, the booming blade, because then you couldn't move to do your freaking dragon breath again without taking more damage.
Yep.
Because I think at that point Birdie and Kalo were already down, so it was like, oof.
I thought of this earlier, but so I wanted to ask if my adamantine armor still negated crits when I'm unconscious.
Yes, because it's just the hardness of the
Oh.
thing.
Because when he would have melee, I would have made it maybe. I would have had only one death saving throw to make, but it shouldn't have been an auto crit. Like the auto crit should have been knocked out by my armor. So when he like stabbed me with his claw,
Does it just like negate the extra damage or all the effects
I thought
that
it
happen
negates
on
a
a crit?
crit.
it negates the crit.
Yeah, it's any hit against you is a regular hit.
Like
When
I
you're
don't think it would have been.
unconscious-
Yeah, so that's why I was like,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
like a
think it
special
would have
thing.
changed Keytree actually dying. Like maybe, but I would have had
You might
at
have lasted
least
around.
Any critical hit against you becomes a normal hit.
Yeah, and she would
Yeah.
still be wearing the armor even if she
Like-
was
Yeah,
incapacitated.
for sure, for sure.
But I didn't even think about that last time until earlier today when I was like, huh.
Yeah,
But also I don't think it would
It's a
I
good
think it would
point.
have been like one more round. And I was still right fucking
well,
next to him and I was
he had
unconscious.
multi-attack, so he
Right.
probably could have hit you with something else. But it would have been another action he had to take on you instead of someone else. So
Yes.
bear that in mind. I will rule in the here and now that yeah, no, I mean you're still wearing it. It's still super hard, even though he hits you. Like it's still adamantine. So yeah, it would negate the crit.
Yeah, I just wanted
That's
to check.
fascinating.
I didn't think about that.
Hmm.
That means it would also negate crits if you were paralyzed and someone hit you in melee.
Yes.
That is bonkers. That's really cool.
Next thing we should be doing is investing in adamantine armor, guys.
Apparently.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody else can wear it.
I cannot. I can't do any blade singer stuff. in
Right.
adamantine
It's
armor.
medium or heavy.
Yeah. I can only do light armor.
I got no armor.
So we'll call it here, and then we'll plan for you guys to initiate some sort of contact with the Flame Legion. That gives me some stuff to prepare.
That sounds good. Do we want to wait to pick a date and just do it via Discord? Or do you want to go ahead and pick one now and then run it by page via Discord?